Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Mars October Rants. Today, I just wanted to talk about excuses and how everyone seems to have an excuse nowadays. Everyone will explain why they can't do something or explain their situation. Everyone seems to have an excuse for why they can't do something or why their life is the way that it is. And, as you talk to people, you'll realize that a lot of the time people just have an excuse for absolutely everything. They have an excuse for why they didn't get the dishes done. They have an excuse for why they didn't get their homework done. They have an excuse for why they haven't paid their bills. They have an excuse on why they couldn't, get their license, or they had an excuse for why they couldn't graduate college, or they have an excuse on why they haven't paid their bills, or like student loan debt, or people have an excuse for everything. And it comes to the point where you just got to stop with the excuses and learn to just tell people the truth about stuff. Like, stop making up excuses for things. And, everyone has an excuse nowadays. And it's so fucking hilarious because people get themselves in these debacles where if they were just honest and stop making up excuses and to stop bullshitting themselves, a lot of the shit in their life would just go away naturally. But, everyone has an excuse, like I said, and it's just a part of life, Everyone has reasons, it's basically the same thing as a reason. Everyone wants to believe they have reasons for, why everything is in their life. Like, they have a reason why they're not a millionaire. They have a reason why they're not successful. There's always people like that. And, you'll come across people like these kinds of fuckers who they'll always talk about the businesses that they're going to open and how successful they're going to be and all the ventures they're going to pursue. And they're always talking about what they're going to do and how successful they're going to be. And, you ask them about it, you try to follow up about it, and they give you the runaround with why they aren't successful yet. Oh, no, because, it's just not taking off. The economy's bad. I have 5 kids. I have to attend to them. You know what I mean? People just have so many excuses for why they can't get shit done. And it's just hilarious, because, there's people that do say all this stuff and they do get it done and they don't have an excuse about it. They just get it done. And you're always going to have people like that. There's no shortage of people that makes excuses for everything. But, I don't want to make this rant too long because I don't really have that much more to say. Because usually when I make these rants, I tend to repeat myself a lot. And I don't want that to happen. But, it's not something that you can escape. You're always going to be around people that do that. So, I don't know. I guess people think that people are going to buy the excuse, and some people do, You talk to some people and they will buy the excuse that people say. People come up with excuses and they literally believe them and they can get away with it for a while and it buys them some time. But, eventually when you tell so many excuses, people, it's just like the boy who cried wolf. Eventually people are not going to believe what you're going through or what you're saying. They're going to think that you're just making excuses. So you have to be very careful with how many excuses you're making. You have to be careful with how many of them you say to people, because eventually people are just going to think you're full of shit. So try to only use excuses when you really, really need to make them, People get into a habit where they make so many, and a lot of the time they don't even realize it. So try to really make time. And also, really only use excuses when you really, really need them. So then, people won't think you're lying because, there's also another aspect of it. And I wanted to bring this up quick is, sometimes you literally have legitimate reasons for why something the way it is or why something happened. And people will claim that you're making an excuse, but you're really not. You're just explaining the truth, and parents are like that. They'll ask you a question, or spouses are like that, relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend. mostly parents for me, but they'll ask you a question of why something happened or why things turned out the way they did. And then you explain to them very calmly and rationally why. And they claim that you're making an excuse, but you're not making an excuse. You're actually talking about what actually happened. That's different, you know? There's actual legitimate reasons why. You know, like say I was trying to go down to the store to pick up my mom's medicine at the drugstore, and say that there was a lot of traffic and, you know, I couldn't get there as fast as she wanted me to, or like, you know, like sometimes you run in for people, you go to the grocery store and there's a lot of people in line, so it takes a long time. And like she'll ask you why it took so long, and you explain to her that there was a lot of people in line and there was a big line and it takes some time, you know, and there's like 15 people in line, and they'll accuse you of making an excuse when it was actually a legitimate reason why. So there's a difference, but you know what I mean? But anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. I really enjoy making these videos, and I will continue to make these videos. I don't get many views on them yet, but, you know, I've explained again why I make these. I make these for my amusement. I make them for my enjoyment. And, you know, the only time people really ever see these videos is because I will tell them to look at my channel. I'll send them a link. And that's fine. You know, maybe someone is going to search about people making excuses and they'll just randomly come across my video, and maybe they'll enjoy my content and maybe they'll subscribe. So you never know what's going to happen. So, you know, I enjoy making these, and I'm going to make them as long as I enjoy making them. And, you know, I always have things to say and I enjoy it. So anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Have a good day or have a good night or whatever applies to you. Goodbye.